All right, what's up, guys? Welcome back to the Horror Brothers podcast. I'm Danny,
And I'm Derek.
and today we're covering John Carpenter's Halloween 3 Season of the Witch, the first and only Halloween movie to not feature Michael Myers. And a lot of people were not happy about it. A lot of people were not happy.
Oh
about
yeah, they hated it when it first came out. It's got a cult following now, but yeah, they hated it when it first came out.
Yeah, like that's like the biggest gap that Michael wasn't in.
Yeah.
What? Just some random number. But like from the span from Halloween 2 to Halloween 4, how long was that Michael wasn't like around?
Uh, 81 to 80, 81 to 88, right?
81 to
I
88.
don't know how long it was in the movies, but from
7
movie to
years.
movie.
Because in Halloween 3, Michael Myers is still uh in timeline technically because Halloween is a movie in Halloween 3.
Yeah. Yeah, they're
Because
watching the movie, yeah.
yeah, they watch it.
Yeah.
Which I think is really cool.
Yeah, it
Yeah.
is.
I really like that. But it's an okay movie. Like, what would you rate this on a scale from like 1 to 10?
Uh, I love it. If you don't like, of course, you got to look at it like it's not a part of the Michael Myers timeline. Honestly, I'd give it a probably a 7.5.
Oh, dude, I can't go that high. I
But I
give
mean,
it like, I give it like 5.
all right,
Like, I mean, it's not a horrible movie, but
yeah,
like, it was one of those that like it didn't catch me and like my eyes like wasn't leaving the screen, bro.
yeah.
Like I would catch myself like not paying attention off little things. I'm like, bro, I need to pay attention to the
Yeah.
movie.
Um, I used to like feel that way about like just watching it. I mean, I used to feel like I couldn't take my eyes off of it, but when I rewatched it this morning, yeah, I kind of would like, um, uh, I don't know, kind of like days off, and then be like, oh, I got to pay attention.
But yeah, this was originally John Carpenter's idea for the Halloween franchise, do the anthological
Anthology, yeah,
and yeah, the anthology series.
yeah,
But after Halloween 1, people were so crazy about Michael that he decided to do a part 2, and that's why Michael Myers originally dies in the fire at the end of Halloween 2. There wasn't supposed to be a Halloween 4 with Michael in it.
yeah, and
But
they demanded it.
yep, but that didn't work. But this was directed by Tommy Lee Wallace. You know anything like else of his?
Oh, dude, I do know that he was married to the one that played Nancy. Nancy.
Annie,
Annie. Why'd I say Nancy? That's off
because
a nightmare.
yeah, because Annie has a part in this movie. What's her
Yeah,
name?
she plays Dr. Chalice's ex-wife.
Yep.
Yeah, but no, other than that, I don't know what other movies he's done.
Yeah. But yeah, this is starring Tom Atkins as the doctor. What's his face?
Chalice.
Yep. Then you got Stacy Nelkin playing Ellie, his love interest in the movie. But
Yeah,
yeah,
dude, they fell in love pretty quick.
dude, yeah, a little bit too fast, dude.
Yeah.
But like we were saying in the beginning, it's we don't find out till a little bit later that Ellie's dad is running from a car that's chasing him, and he's holding this uh orange pumpkin mask,
Yeah.
and he's like hiding behind the car. Well, oh, we don't went over this part with the car smash and everything.
No, that was me and you before the podcast.
Oh yeah, I forgot, but yeah, he's running from the car, and the car catches what like the car don't catch up to him. He hides behind another car, or like in
Yeah.
between two cars.
Yeah, and then the person finds him
Yeah, the person
and
finds
attacks
him
him.
and yeah, attacks him, and he's like on top of him, and then the old man pulls the chain, which pulls the block out from underneath the tire,
Yeah.
and the car just slowly bumps into him and kills him somehow.
Yeah, dude, and that's like I was watching it today, and I was like, that death scene is so weird.
Yeah, like it was just like a small bump. Like you
Yeah.
shouldn't have died over that, but
Yeah.
I guess. But after that, it shows 1 hour later, and it shows this dude at a gas station, kind of just thrown in there. Like it's only just there to show that that's the guy that takes him to the hospital, right?
Yeah. Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Because then it's at the hospital, and the dude's laying on the gurney, still clutching that orange mask, and that dude's still walking with him. The
Yeah.
dude from the gas station.
And Dr. Chalice had brought his kids a Halloween mask after the car scene, and they were disappointed because they already got the Silver Shamrock mask. And then he gets a call, and his wife, his ex-wife, is like doctoring and drinking. That's a good combination. So he gets called to the hospital for that reason.
Yeah, I forgot about that part. I actually remembered, but I thought it came after the well, no, that
No.
wouldn't have made sense.
Yeah.
But yeah, that happens. I forgot that part. So then now we're at the hospital, and he's clutching the orange pumpkin mask, and the dude's walking with him. He's like, I was just trying to do the right thing, like I wouldn't leave him out there. That's messed up.
Yeah.
And you can tell Tom's been drinking. Doctor,
Yeah.
what's his face? I'm gonna just call him Tom because I can't remember his name.
Okay. Chalice.
Chalice. But yeah, he comes up, and the old man's like, they're gonna kill us all. He's like, what? And they like, they actually get him good. Like he's all right. They have him in the room,
Yeah.
and he's resting, and then all of a sudden,
Yeah, and Dr. Chalice goes to take a nap, and he
oh,
smacks
that's
that
right.
nurse on the butt. I was like, you
That's
can't
right. I
do that,
forgot.
bud.
He said, I need a nap, and then on the way out, he just slaps her on the butt.
Yeah.
I was gonna say that part after for some reason. I thought that was after, but a dude in a very nice suit, like businessman, comes in his room, and I don't I don't know how he does this, but he like gouges his fingers in his eyeballs and breaks his skull.
Oh yeah, dude, it looks
That'd be like super gnarly.
right. Yeah, vicious,
But yeah, the
brutal.
old man is dead after they got him stabilized, and like he was all right. Well, he's
Yeah.
not all right now, but
No.
and then the woman sees the aftermath, and she tells him like to go get that man, and he's just slowly walking, kind of like Michael does, just slowly walking, like he ain't in no rush.
Yeah.
And then by the time the doctor gets out there, he's out there in his car dousing himself in gasoline.
Yeah.
And then he lights himself on fire, and the car explodes.
Yeah. And then it cuts to the next day.
Yeah, it cuts to the next day. After this, it starts rolling through the days like pretty quick.
It really does. Yeah.
It really does. Like there's one scene throughout a couple of these days.
Yeah.
But the next day, he's at the bar and he's drinking.
Well, first the she comes to identify her dad
Oh, does that come
at the
first?
hospital. Yeah. Yeah.
See, that's what I mean. I know all the scenes, just put them in order to where I struck.
Yeah, got you.
I
Yeah.
had to rewind it quite a few times to watch it. So.
Yeah. Yeah.
But yeah, she walks in and she's like ready to like flip over the sheets to see if it's him or not. And he's like, whoa, 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 slow down. And she's like, let's get it over with. And she's like, yeah, it's him.
Yeah.
Yeah, and
then he looks out the window and it clicks to another day.
Oh yeah, to the next day, which I was saying that Tom is at the bar.
Yeah.
And he's drinking, and he goes to watch the TV, and it's that stupid Silver Shamrock commercial.
Yeah.
And it's like, how many days till Halloween is that one? Is it at right now? Like 8?
Yeah, I think so. Let's see. That's on the no, that's the 27th, right? Or is that the 24th?
I don't remember.
I don't know, but anyway, yeah.
But he cuts it again, and what does it cut to the next time? What was it?
Oh yeah, she comes into the bar, right? And she tells them about her dad and what he was doing. And then they go to his dad's shop, her dad's shop, and they find the receipt where he had got the masks. And then they decide to go.
They figure out that he was going to go pick up a shipment of them.
Yeah. So then he calls his ex-wife and tells her
Yeah.
oh yeah, guess what? I'm not gonna be able to get them. And then
Yeah.
they get to the yeah, then they get on their way.
Yeah, he's like, I'm not gonna be able to get the kids tonight, and he hangs up
Yeah,
and he
so you can
grabs a
hear
6-pack and runs to the car.
right, and you
Yeah,
can hear
this
her in
dude is
the
a bad alcoholic.
yeah, and you can hear her on the other line like screaming at him.
Yeah, he's just not listening to any of that.
Yeah,
But after that, it's what?
isn't it the 30th?
It might be.
No, hold on. No, I think it's still the same day because they get to the because it's not that far from where they're at, and they get to the motel. Well, the first they're driving through the town where it
Yeah,
is.
and they're talking. They're like, we need to sell this part. We need to look like buyers." And they pull up to the gas station, and like he gets a little bit closer and like puts his arm over there towards her, and he's like, uh, his like my wife and me were looking for a place or something like that,
Yeah,
and we were like, "Do you have any rooms open?" And he's like, "Yeah, well." The hotel manager takes them to the room, right?
yeah. First they're driving through town and everyone's staring at them,
Oh yeah.
and they said they feel awkward. Yeah, and then they get to the hotel and yeah.
The dude takes him to the room. Does anything happen in the room at first?
He takes he tells her to keep him distracted and he runs to the office. So the hotel manager takes
Yeah,
her to the room and shows her around and he goes to the office and sees that her dad was there.
yeah, because that
Yeah,
was the plan to see if her dad had checked in there, and
yeah.
sure enough,
And
he
then
did.
put yeah, and then put the money there. And as he's coming back, he almost gets hit by the bus.
Yeah, and
And
then it's a dude. It's the dude that's the number one seller of the Halloween mask.
yes, buddy,
Yeah,
something. Yeah.
yeah, because it's Betty and Buddy.
Yeah.
Betty and
And then
Buddy.
little buddy.
Yeah. And
Yeah.
yeah, that's not nose
And
little
dude,
brat.
when the hotel
Yeah.
manager takes her into the room, he gets their luggage out. It's like one little thing, and he's like, "Y'all are light packers."
Yeah.
I every time I see it, I'm like, if they knew they were going there to make it look like that, maybe they should have packed
She
something.
said we had a lot of practice.
Yeah,
But yeah,
yeah,
what I was gonna say is like when the RV pulls up with the family and he kind of like has to slam because he almost hits the guy, and then the bike flies off the front of the
yeah,
thing and almost hits him too, and he sits it up and he's like, "Sorry about that. Thanks for sitting it up for me."
yeah. And
And
then the
then the
little
snot
boy,
nosed little brat comes over there and jumps on. He's like, or he says something like, "It better not be broke."
yeah. And then his mom's like, "Don't go near the road," and then he flips her off.
Dude, yeah, he turns over and like gives her the finger, bro. I was like, yeah, you need
Yeah,
to like spank your kid more often.
yeah.
But what
So
happens
then
right after that?
So then uh he goes he's talking to the buddy guy and then their conversation's over. And then a car pulls up and almost hits him again.
Oh
And
yeah,
it's Marge Gutman. Did you know at that time that was his wife in real life?
I did not know
He
that.
was married to her in real life at that time. So
And
anyway,
she
then
works for the Silver Shamrock, right?
she's
Company.
one of the salesmen's
Yeah.
too. Like
Oh.
she has her own store.
Oh.
So then he gets into the room and uh the woman, Ellie, she's ready to go take care of business. She's like, let's go to the factory. And he's like, it's getting late. I need a drink.
Yeah, I remember that. He's like, "Whoa, slow down. It's getting late, and I need a
Yeah. Like,
drink."
we need to take our time. And then they start talking and he's like, should I rent another? Cause she's like, so you're down to stay? And he's like, yeah, this
Yeah.
outfit will last. It's got another day.
Yeah, it's
And he's
got
like,
another day.
yeah, he's like, should I get another room? And she's like, that'd be suspicious. He's like, well, I could sleep in the car. It's probably better than sleeping on the floor. And she's like, where do you want to sleep?
Yeah.
He's like,
He's
that's a
like,
dumb
"That's
question.
a dumb question, Miss whatever her last name is."
Yeah, I don't remember, to be
And
honest.
like, I guess that was enough. I guess that was all he needed to go in for it, dude. He just
Yeah,
lays a
yeah,
fat one on her.
he does. Yeah,
And sure
he's
enough,
got
that
game,
is
bro.
because it cuts to them in bed.
Well, no, before that, he goes to get a drink, so he goes to the liquor store, the town liquor store. I'm guessing is what it is.
Oh,
Um, And then when he's walking back, he sees the homeless guy. In the
Wow.
yeah, and the homeless guy is like, I seen you. That bottle looks awful heavy. I don't have any germs. Can I take a drink? So he gives him a drink, and he asks the homeless guy about like Connell Cochran, and he tells him about how he's ruined the town and all this stuff. And then he says he's going to burn down the warehouse or
Oh
the
yeah.
factory, and you can see the cameras like looking through the town, like. So then he's like, he hired all those people from out of state. You think he'd give me a job? Nope. Someone who was born and raised here. So then he asked Dr. Chouse if he has a buck, and he gives him a buck. Dr.
Oh
Chouse
yeah.
walks
I
off.
remember that part.
Yeah. Meanwhile, Ellie is back at the hotel, and she's talking. She meets Marge Gutman, who's like being like, "You're a salesman too." Blah blah. Their craftsmanship is going down. This one broke. My 4-year-old threw it. And then when he gets back to the hotel, she's in the shower.
Oh
She
yeah.
comes out of the shower, she does all that stuff. And then they get down to
Yeah,
business.
she's in her lingerie and she just opens the towel. She's like,
Yeah.
look.
Yeah. Uh, and then they get down to business. They do their business.
And that's where it cuts to the middle of the night and they're sleep. Wait, no, because it cuts to something else before because Marge
Yeah.
dies.
So while they're doing that, it cuts to the homeless guy. He's making himself a spray cheese sandwich, and then he's like, someone shines light in his eye, and it's the people, and he's like, "Guys, I was just kidding. I was just kidding." And they put him down on his knees, and Dick Warlock is the
The
guy that comes up,
the
and
actor
he's
that plays Michael Myers in Halloween 2. Yeah.
yes,
I remembered I made myself remember that to bring up in here. I'm glad you did.
yes, and then he rips the homeless guy's head off.
Yeah, just a twist and a pull. That's all.
Yeah. So then it clicks back and it shows Marge Gutman sitting down to read a book, and she's doing that. And then it clicks back to Dr. Chalcinelli. They just got done. They're talking, and then the Silver Shamrock commercial comes on the radio, and he's like, "What is it with that commercial?"
Yeah.
And then she's ready to go again, and he's like, "Well, aren't you tired? The least bit
Yeah.
tired." Then it clicks back to Marge playing with the pen with the thing, and that's when it shoots it into her mouth and
Oh yeah,
destroys her.
the big laser just melts like her whole face off, and then the bugs start. Well,
Yeah,
no, they don't really crawl out because they crawl around, then one comes out and then goes back up inside her head.
yeah. That looked like a bee, didn't it? It looked like a hornet or something.
I don't know. I remember it looking nasty.
Yeah, it was gross. And then they hear that, and they're like, just, huh? What was that? And then later they hear like the commotion, and they
Yeah,
run
and
outside.
they wake up. You get to see Tom's butt. He throws his pants on. He runs out there, and he's like, "I'm a doc." He really thinks he's gonna get somewhere saying he's a doctor.
Yeah,
He's
they
like, "I'm
don't
a
care.
doctor. I'm a doctor." They're like, "Just give it up. Nobody cares."
Yeah, they're like, and then they're like there's like a bunch of like people standing there, and he's
Yeah.
asking what happened, and there's like, it's just an accident. And then Connell Cochran pulls up, and he tells the people, it's just an accident. It was just an accident. We're taking her back to the factory. We got the best
Yeah.
facility there. And then Dr. Chouse overhears him talking to the other people, and they're like, what happened? And they're like, a misfire. And then of course they take her, and well,
How does it come up that Tom goes to the factory though?
well, the next, so they go back into the hotel room.
Yeah.
They're talking about it. She falls asleep on the couch. She falls asleep in the chair. Well, the next day they decide to go to the factory the next morning and tell them that her father's missing and that he didn't get a shipment, like, or that a shipment's missing. They're like, well, he came and picked that up himself. And then they're like, did he? They make it look like he's
Yeah, crazy.
yeah. And then that's when the guy comes in there like, her father came, and do you remember him? And he's like, yeah, he was in a green
Oh yeah, he describes
station
his
wagon.
car to her.
Yeah. And then the other people come in, the salesman of the year,
Oh yeah.
and sees him and talk, and then they go to leave, and then they see Connell Cochran come in.
Yep.
And he tells the people how Buddy's the salesman of the year, and that and then that he's going to give him a free tour of the factory, and then he sees the Smiths, as they
Oh yeah.
said their name was, and he tells him that he's personally going to make sure that the shipment's redone and
And
this
it's
and
gonna be
that,
for free.
and
The
it's going to be
shipment will
for
be
free.
free.
Yeah, and then he goes to go back over, and the buddy guy's like, "Well, can my friends come?" He's like, "Oh yeah, I was going to ask them." So they're all taking the tour together.
And then does it cut straight to the tour? Or is
Yeah,
there
they're just
something else?
walking through the factory, and you just see a bunch of masks being made, some that are already made. The kid's like, "I want a mask. I want a mask. I want this one."
Yeah,
And kind of,
and this is where you kind of learn that it's the token on the back of the masks that makes
yeah,
it go.
hmm
Because at first he grabs the one without the token, and he's like, "No, no, no, you can't have that one. That one's not done being made." And he's
yeah.
like,
It
"Here,
hasn't went through final
take this
processing.
one." Yeah, that's what he said.
Yeah, because
And
then
then,
Buddy's like,
yeah, dude, that sparks his interest so hard.
"It does, doesn't it?" He's like, "Well, what's the final
He's like,
process?"
"What's the final process? What's the final process?"
The
And
wife's
then,
like, "I don't know."
he's like, uh, it's just going over it again and just making sure everything's good. And then on their way out, they see this door. Another thing that really sparks his interest that
Yeah,
he wants to go. He wants to see what's behind that door very badly. And he's like, "No, can't do that."
yeah, and he shuts the door. Yeah,
And then he's like, "Just a peek."
and he's like, "It's secret." And then he explains that the reason is they have harmful chemicals to make sure that the things are all right, or to go over them and check them.
What's after that?
And then Dr. Chalice and Ellie walk around, and Dr. Chalice sees like people who look like the people who killed her dad. And she like
Oh
she's
yeah,
talking to the wife, Betty, and then he comes and is like, "Honey, it's time to go."
yeah,
They're walking, and Betty's like, "Bye." And then he's like, "These there's you see those guys, they look mighty familiar, like the guys that killed your father."
yeah,
And
yeah.
they're
I remember
walking
that.
out, and then she sees
Her
her
dad's
dad's station
car under
wagon.
a tarp in one of their garages.
Yeah, and
And
he
she
runs
goes to
over there.
run. Yeah, like she goes to run over there. She just takes off, and they stop her. And what did they say? Do you remember?
They're like, something like, "You can't see this," or the robots or the people don't say anything. They're just like, and then it cuts back, and Connell Cochran's talking to Buddy, and he's like, "Oh, it's just a part of the final processing," or something like that. And then Buddy's like, "Oh, okay." And then like you could tell he's like, "What's going on?" So then they Dr. Chalice and Ellie leave, right? They leave the factory,
Yeah,
and they go back to the hotel, and they're like deciding what to do. So he goes one more time to call the. And by the way, through the whole movie, he's like still talking to his friend who's a coroner, and she's like inspecting the stuff from the car, and
yeah.
she's like
From the car
confused.
explosion.
Yeah, and that she's confused because she only sees like metal parts. So
Yeah.
he goes and gives her one last call, or tries
Hmm.
to, but the phones aren't working. And then when he goes back to the room, Ellie's been
Yeah,
taken.
Ellie's gone.
Yeah, and he walks out the door and he sees like the people, and he runs back in, locks the bathroom door, and climbs out the window and makes
Hmm.
his way back to the factory.
Yeah. And then once he gets to the factory, he gets captured. How does he get captured though?
Um, first he gets there, and he's like looking, and then Dick Warlock attacks him, and they're fighting, and he gets the upper hand, and he punches through his
Oh yeah, dude, he
gut.
punches straight through his stomach and
Yeah,
the orange
and he
juice
sees it.
comes out.
Yeah, and he sees that there's wires and stuff, and he's like,
Yeah,
"What's
and
happening?" He's just like confused, and
yeah,
then that's when two
that's
more come up
yeah, that's
behind him
when
and
you
grab
find
him.
out they're not real, they're robots.
Yeah, but don't forget when he first gets to the factory, he sees a woman knitting, and he goes in there. He's like, "Where's Ellie? Where's Ellie?" And her head falls off. It's a robot
Oh yeah, I remember that. Well,
because it
I
was
didn't remember
made
that
in
she was knitting, but
1785.
I remember her head falling off.
Yeah, because when he gets captured, Connell Cochran comes in, and he's upset because that one was made in 1785, but he'll
Wow,
replace it.
you remember a lot more of it than I do.
Yeah, And so then he starts taking him on what looks like another tour to tell him his plan finally. And they take him to the place where they had taken the rock, the big Stonehenge, and he's like,
Yeah,
"You
the
wouldn't
one that they
believe how we
stole.
got that here." And that's when he takes him to the control center, it looks like.
Yeah,
And he's like, "We're gonna do we're gonna show you a and how does he word it? I don't remember how he words it, but anyway, he has the Buddy and Betty and little Buddy taken to a room.
yeah. It was
It's a
testing
test
room
room.
A.
Yeah, testing room A. And when they go in there, they give him a notepad. She goes and opens the window, but it's just metal.
They tell him that he's watching new commercials, new
Yeah,
advertising.
and they want his opinion on it. So
Yeah,
they lock him in there. He clicks back there. He's continuing to tell about his plan. Well, then the woman's like, "I don't like this. This is scary." And then the kid's like, "I gotta pee."
yeah, because the doesn't he try to open the door and realize it's locked or no?
I know. I think that's like right. Not yet. I don't think that's happened yet until
Oh,
after. And then he's like, "Well, Connell, Mr. Cochran will be here soon, and everything will be all right." Well, then the commercial comes on. And the kid puts on his mask and he's standing close to the TV, and his mom's like, "Move away from the TV, you'll hurt your eyes." And he moves
yeah,
back just like an inch.
yeah.
And then she starts laughing. She's like, "This is ridiculous. Like, this is crazy." And she pulls up the fake grapes and she's just laughing. Next thing you know, the kid's grabbing his head. The mask is melting.
Yeah, his face is starting to melt, and then he
Yeah.
just falls over, and she's like,
Yeah. And then they jump up and like insects and snakes. A rattlesnake comes out of his
and
head.
this is the only part that I turned my eyeball at when the snake came out. Oh my
Yeah.
god, it scared me super bad.
Did it?
The snake scared the bejesus out of me.
Oh yeah, I hate snakes.
I don't like seeing them in any type of way. So yeah,
Me either.
I turned my head for that part.
Yeah, I don't like them either. So then she passes out, and then
Yeah,
that's when Buddy like runs and tries to open the door and realizes it's
and
locked.
the snake bites him
Yep.
on the
And
leg,
then
right
Dr.
on the leg.
Chalice, yeah, yeah, and he falls and dies. And then Dr. Chalice is just looking at it like, "Oh no,
Yeah,
oh no." So then they take him and they tie him in a chair. Oh, and they also show him that Ellie's tied to a table, and they show
yeah,
him the body covered up of the gut the Gutman woman, you know.
yeah.
And then they take him and they put him in a chair and they tie him down and he asks why. And then that's when Connell Cochran tells him about why he's doing it.
Because
You
people
know,
forgot the traditions of Halloween. They changed it to where it's all about kids dressing up and getting candy
yeah.
when it's really
So
supposed to be. What is it? What does he want it to be? What was it? What is it supposed to be?
I don't know. I mean, he's just like talking how he wants it to be like it was back 3,000 years ago. And sour or something. I'm not sure how he said it, but
Yeah. It was something like that.
and then so then he's like, "You get a front row seat," and he puts the skull
Yeah, he
mask on.
puts the skull mask on him and cuts on Halloween, bro.
Yeah, turns on the TV and it's Halloween. It's the part near the end where she's going across the road to check and see if everything's okay.
Yeah.
And so then he Connell Cochran goes back out and then he's in there by himself and
Gosh.
he works his way over to the TV and he couldn't really do this I don't think, but he kicked
Yeah.
he busted
He busts the screen out with his feet.
yeah, gets a hold of the glass, cuts himself loose, and this is the best mask throw I've ever seen in my life. He
Yeah.
takes the mask while his hands to it and he tosses it over the camera.
Dude, just like all in the flick of the wrist, dude. He just
Yeah,
puts it
just
up and
yeah,
perfectly lands on the camera.
yeah. And one of the robots notices it and they go to Connell Cochran, but he's on the phone.
Yeah, so
So then
he's taking too long to get the information
yeah,
because he's over there jibber jabbering on the phone.
yeah,
Meanwhile, the doctor is pulling the vent off the wall and climbing up through the vent to escape.
yeah. And climbing outside of the building.
Yeah, and then the guards go in, the robots go in, and they look at they look in the camera and they show him the grate and they show him the mask and they're like,
yeah, and then they're like, he's gone, and Connell Cochran's like, he's not gone, and he puts the camera on Ellie's room, and Dr. Chalice makes his way back in to Ellie's room and gets her loose. She doesn't say a word.
Yep.
So they're going, and then he has a plan, or he's like, he figures out what he can do. So they find a box of those buttons that go on the masks.
Yeah.
And then he
gets up to the Raptors and he drops them off.
Well, first he's like, stay here. And then he runs over and he turns on the commercial where they're all there.
Yeah.
And then he goes and he gets the box. He's at the top, and then he pours it down and it kills all the robots, zapping them.
Yeah, that was super weird.
Yeah, and then Connell Cochran's like, and then dude, that stuff hits him and turns him into paper. Yeah,
I remember that.
Yeah, so then they're like, all right, we gotta go. We gotta make sure the stations don't play the commercial. So they get in the car and they're headed. And meanwhile, Ellie still hasn't.
This whole time, Ellie has not said one single word.
Not one.
Nothing at all.
And he's like, go ahead.
He hasn't found that weird until just now. They're going on the road after he's already saved her. And what happens, Derek?
He's like, are you okay, Ellie? And she like turns and then grabs him by the face.
Yeah.
And starts fighting.
I remember that.
And then he wrecks the car. Dude, as that was happening, I was like, if she was a robot, then why did she let him kill Connell Cochran? Because earlier Connell Cochran had said that the robots are
no sense.
Yeah, okay. But anyway, so they start.
I don't know what John and Deborah were doing.
Yeah, so they start fighting and they get out and he like, she's got her arm right there and he like reaches in the trunk and gets the tire iron.
Yeah.
Hits her arm down, dude, and it rips it off.
Yeah, ripped her arm off because after he he cuts her head off.
Yeah, well he knocks her head off with the tire iron. And he's like, oh. He gets back in the car, and then her other hand attacks him.
Her arm is still on like the door thing though when he closes.
Oh yeah, yeah, because when they wrecked, it ripped it off
on the armrest on the door.
Yes.
Yeah.
and then he has a fight with it for a bit, and then he finally gets out of the car, throws it down, and runs. And next thing you know, it shows the gas station again, and the guy's like, just now getting done filling up a car, and then here comes Dr. Chalice running, which, like from the beginning when the old man was running. And he's like, I need your phone. And he's like, it's inside. He's like, do I know you? And then he, of course, goes inside and he's on the phone with the networks and he's like telling them it's got to
take it all off. And why do they listen to him?
Well, I don't know. He's just like begging them, and he's like, do what you have to. Say there's a bomb. Do this.
But, and meanwhile, the kids don't care because it's airing everywhere. So every time they flip the channel, it's just coming on somewhere else.
Yeah. So there's some kids that come up to trick or treat. And while he's on the phone with them, the commercial comes on, and they're like looking at it, and then it comes off the first station. They turn it.
Yeah.
It comes off the second station.
Yeah.
They turn it. It's on the third station, and he's like, "It's still on the third station. It's still on the third station. Stop it. Stop it." Stop it. And he keeps it. And then he's like, stop it. And then end credits. Boom.
So pretty much every kid in America died.
Yeah. Yep.
Because nobody stopped it. And
no,
it showed everybody across. Well, it didn't kill every kid in the world, just every kid in the country.
Yeah, right. Because it's different time zones.
Yeah.
Yeah. Once they realized that it did it to that time zone, the other time zone was probably like, all right, no thanks.
Yeah, because it showed the kids buying them in each of different states, they're all wearing them. So yeah, probably most of the kids in America are now dead in it.
Oh yeah.
Come on.
Yeah. But dude, like we were talking about, when that movie first came out, people hated it because it didn't have Michael. But now it's got a big cult following.
Oh yeah. Yeah, but this week's gonna be super short. I just could not follow this movie. It's okay.
Yeah.
But I think I was trying too hard to pay attention to it, harder than I should have had to.
Well, we pretty much covered everything.
Just to be able to do the podcast. So But I mean, we still hit it all, and I
Yeah.
don't have to do no extra editing because we made it all in the first recording, which isn't bad.
Yeah. Dude, I remembered everything, dude. I was on point.
Dude, I know you did all the talking because, dude, I couldn't remember any of it at all. I remembered some parts, but not all of it.
Yeah. Yeah. I watched it when I woke up this morning. I watched it.
Because that was only my second time watching it all the way through, and it's been a
Oh,
while
yeah,
since
because
the
you
first
are
time I
not a
watched
big
it.
fan of it. Yeah.
Yeah.
I've seen it so many times, but you still got to watch it to refreshify your memory.
But yeah, Halloween 3, the first Halloween was Michael Myers not in it. Everybody hated it. Yeah, but like you said, there's a cult following to it now. So
yeah,
hang on, I want to look up the. Hang on. So with a budget of $2.5 million, which is honestly pretty good, good amount of money.
yeah.
It only made at box office $14.4 million.
Well,
So
at least it made more than it cost, though.
I mean, yeah. I mean, it did really good for its budget. So I mean,
dude, I bet people went and seen it because they thought Michael was in it.
Yeah, probably. And then they were watching. They're like, "What?"
Yeah, where's
Jamie
Michael?
Lee Curtis is in it.
Yeah, her voice.
And technically, Michael is in it. He just isn't Michael.
That's true.
Because Jamie Lee Curtis comes across the announcing that it's curfew.
Yep.
Yeah.
Dude, I just learned that the other day.
Cameo.
I didn't know that until the other day.
When you watched the dead meat kill count when he said it.
Yeah. Yeah. That's the first time I had heard that. That's pretty awesome, though.
Yep. But Halloween 3, as people know it as the Halloween without Michael. The Halloween that doesn't have Michael in it.
The Halloween without Mike, the night he didn't come home.
The night he didn't come home for real.
Yeah.
Yeah, that hurts. But yeah, it's Halloween 3. I don't have anything else to say about it. It was okay. I mean, Tom Atkins is definitely a old drunken pervert in that movie.
Yeah.
I feel like he's playing anything.
Yeah. He was throwing down some game.
Next after this is gonna be, hey Destiny, will you do me a favor? Yeah. Will you look in the cabinet that's got all my movies in it and grab Halloween 4 out real quick? Yeah, hurry though, hurry. Quick. Oh my gosh. I need you to hurry. We gotta listen to it.
The night he returns home.
Okay, never mind. We got bonus episode coming out this week. Christine, we're gonna be covering John Carpenter's Christine. I'm gonna try to finish it so I don't have to edit it together to make extra work. This has been the Horror Bros Podcast. I'm Danny.
And I'm Derek.
And we'll see you guys next week. Or no, later this week because we're gonna be doing a bonus podcast. So yeah.